A 33-year-old male from El Salvador finds dry hand solution after many years of searching. He described to me that he, for as long as he can remember, always would have wet hands. That would happen many different times a day. And during the wet, sweating episodes, he would describe to me that his fingers would get really cool. Eventually, he left El Salvador, and in his journey for a solution and working and progressing in his profession and becoming a painter, he eventually finds himself in Katy, Texas, and he was working as a painter. He, however, found that painting with wet hands was quite difficult, especially when they would drip. He dreamed his entire life that he could find, finally somewhere, a permanent solution. And patients come from all around the world to San Antonio for Micro ETS to stop the long history of frequent episodes of sweating and wet and cold hands together. So in his journey through life, as he's looking at this treatment and that treatment and creams and topical solutions, he found that none of those solutions really helped that much, and they really didn't last very long either. So in his journey for his solution from El Salvador and then to Katy, Texas, and he finds a solution, Micro ETS, in San Antonio, Texas. This is the day before surgery in my office. You can see a close-up of the water or the sweat on the surface of the skin, especially the fingertips. And here's a thermal image to the right with the colors representing similar temperatures for the yellow for being the warmest, and then red a little cooler, and then the purple or the blue, you can see the fingers here a little bit, actually quite a bit cooler in my office, especially the tips of the fingers here. And zooming in, you can see how wet his fingers were, especially the day before surgery. So then he goes to the operating room about 2 miles from my office the next morning, and what he finds after the procedure is his hands are completely dry and warm. And what I noticed at the beginning of the Micro ETS procedure, his middle finger temperatures were very cold. It's 72.1 degrees, 70 on the right side, and 74.3 degrees was the middle finger temperature on the left side. And immediately after Micro ETS, the temperatures warmed up to 93.0 on the right and 95.0 degrees Fahrenheit on the left. And here's the next morning in my office. You can see that not only is the skin on all the fingers and the palms completely dry, but this thermal image you can see on the right with the yellow representing the warmest temperatures. But look, even from the center palm all the way to the tips of each of the fingers, his hands and fingers are the same temperature and warm. And zooming in, you can see that his skin was completely dry. As a matter of fact, lotion was something that he had not been used to putting on because it would trigger the sweating. And so he didn't like putting lotion on. And after the procedure, he really loved the difference where he'd apply lotion and no sweating would occur at all. Again, here's comparison of the before and the after. You can see the before, the wet, cold fingertips. Again, the thermal image here with the darker color here, the bluish and the purple representing cool fingertips. And then the next morning, or the morning after surgery, which would have been the day after surgery, dry hands and completely warm. Completely changed his life. As a matter of fact, this is what he told me. He said this after the surgery. He said, "Doctor, everything is better in my life." And back at work, he described to me that painting for him was so much easier, so much better having dry hands.